ladies and gentlemen. There's a voice inside you, a powerful, purposeful voice waiting to be heard, but too often is drowned out by the noise of doubt, fear, comparison, and chaos. It's time to break through. The first step to breaking through the noise is to truly see it for what it is. Noise is not just the sound you hear in a crowded room. It's the chatter of distractions, the echoes of self-doubt, and the relentless hum of expectations that attempt to drown out your purpose. It's the constant barrage of opinions, unsolicited advice, and societal pressures that try to define who you are and what you should do. To move beyond it, you must first recognize it, not just in the world around you, but within yourself. The noise often starts subtly, like a whisper. It could be the critical comment you overheard years ago that planted a seed of doubt. Maybe it's the unspoken pressure to meet standards that were never yours to begin with. Over time, these whispers multiply, layering into a loud, chaotic symphony of negativity and confusion. This noise is cunning. It disguises itself as logic or reality, making you believe that it's a reflection of truth. But it's not truth, it's distortion. Recognizing the noise requires an intentional pause. Too often we move through life on autopilot, unaware of how much of the external world we've allowed to take up space in our minds. We scroll through social media, unconsciously comparing our lives to highlight reels of others. We take on labels and definitions that were never meant for us because someone said you should do this or you'll never be able to do that. These influences shape our decisions, limit our risks, and mute our authenticity. But the noise isn't just external, it's internal too. There's an inner critic that thrives on fear and insecurity. It's the voice that questions your every move. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What will they think of me? This voice feeds off of past failures and magnifies every misstep, trying to convince you that you're not capable of more. It's relentless, isn't it? Always ready to pull you back into a cycle of self-doubt just when you're on the verge of something greater. The noise also thrives in busyness. Sometimes we stay so preoccupied that we don't even realize we're surrounded by it. We fill our days with tasks, conversations, and distractions, never taking the time to stop and ask ourselves, what do I really want? What am I called to do? Without this reflection, the noise wins because you're too busy to confront it. Recognizing the noise isn't about silencing every distraction in your life. It's about identifying what isn't serving you. It's about becoming aware of the voices, habits, and environments that pull you away from your truth. When you learn to recognize the noise, you regain the power to choose what you listen to. You begin to distinguish between the chatter that holds you back and the clarity that calls you forward. The noise is persistent, but it's not permanent. The moment you choose to see it for what it is, you're already taking the first step toward breaking free. Finding your frequency is about tuning into who you are at your core, your authentic self, and aligning with the voice of your purpose. It's not about conforming to the world's standards, chasing someone else's dream, or trying to fit yourself into a mold that doesn't fit. It's about getting quiet enough to hear your own heart, the whisper of your soul, and the rhythm of your life, your divine plan. We live in a world where external noise is louder than ever, and it's easy to get lost in the crowd. The voices around us tell us who we should be, how we should act, and what we should desire. Social media bombards us with unrealistic images of success, beauty, and happiness, making us feel inadequate if we don't measure up. The pressure to achieve, to be someone we're not, can cause us to lose sight of what we truly want. But finding your frequency means rejecting all that noise and reconnecting with the heartbeat of your own life. Your frequency is unique to you. It's the expression of your soul, the gifts you've been given, and the passions that light you up. When you tune into it, everything else falls into place. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to others because you're grounded in the understanding that your value isn't based on external achievements. Your frequency is not dictated by the applause of others, but by the resonance of your inner truth. To find your frequency, you must be willing to silence the noise, even for a moment. It's about creating space to listen to yourself, to your intuition, and to the still small voice within you. This might require stepping away from the distractions of the world, finding solitude, and allowing yourself to just be. It's in these moments of quiet that you hear what's truly important to you. It's in these moments that you begin to feel the pull of your purpose. Your frequency is also tied to your values and beliefs. It's about knowing what you stand for and aligning your actions with what you believe in. When you're in tune with your values, your life flows with clarity and direction. You stop questioning your path and start walking confidently in it. You begin to make decisions based on what feels right to you rather than what feels expected. The more you find your frequency, the more you'll feel like you're walking in sync with your purpose. There's a sense of peace and fulfillment that comes with this alignment. It's a feeling that tells you you're exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you're meant to do. When you find your frequency, there's no need to compare yourself to anyone else because you realize that no one else's path is the same as yours. Finding your frequency also means embracing your imperfections. We often think that to be worthy of success, love, or fulfillment, we need to be perfect. But your frequency is not about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about showing up as your true self, flaws and all, and knowing that who you are is enough. When you find your frequency, you let go of the need to perform and step into the power of your genuine self. In a world full of noise, finding your frequency is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It's the key to living a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. When you align with your true self, the noise no longer has power over you, and you are free to live as the person you were always meant to be. The inner critic is one of the loudest and most persistent forms of noise we face. It's that voice inside your head that questions your worth, magnifies your fears, and convinces you that you're not good enough. It's the voice that tells you that you're unqualified, undeserving, or incapable of achieving your dreams. The inner critic feeds off of your insecurities, exploiting every flaw you perceive in yourself and amplifying your mistakes until they become your entire reality. To break through the noise, you must learn how to quiet this voice, not by ignoring it, but by understanding it, confronting it, and choosing not to let it control your narrative. The first step in quieting the inner critic is to recognize that it is not the truth. It is not a reflection of who you are, but rather a distortion often rooted in past experiences, societal expectations, or self-doubt. Many times the inner critic has no basis in reality. It thrives on exaggeration, telling you that your failures define you, or that one mistake means you'll never succeed. But the truth is that failure is part of growth. It is not the end of your story. When you understand that the inner critic is a product of fear and negative conditioning, you can start to disarm its power over you. Next, you have to challenge the inner critic. Instead of allowing it to take the lead, question the validity of its claims. When it says, you're not good enough, ask yourself, what evidence do I have that supports that? When it whispers, you're going to fail, ask yourself, what if I succeed instead? The inner critic thrives on your agreement with its negative messages. When you choose to question its lies, you begin to reclaim control over your thoughts and emotions. One of the most effective ways to quiet the inner critic is through self-compassion. So often we are our harshest critics, but what if we treated ourselves with the same kindness we offer to others? When you make a mistake or experience a setback, instead of berating yourself, practice self-forgiveness and understanding. Remind yourself that you are human, and being human means making mistakes. Every misstep is an opportunity to learn and grow. The inner critic wants you to believe that your mistakes define your worth, but self-compassion tells you that your worth is not determined by your failures. It is inherent in who you are. Another powerful tool in silencing the inner critic is to replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. These affirmations should be rooted in truth and aligned with your values. Every time the inner critic tries to speak up, replace its negative words with affirmations of your strengths, abilities, and worth. Speak these affirmations out loud and believe in their truth. Over time, the negative messages of the inner critic will lose their power as you continually reinforce the truth of who you are. Mindfulness also plays a significant role in quieting the inner critic. When you're mindful, you become more aware of the thoughts that come into your mind. Instead of being swept away by them, you observe them without judgment. This creates distance between you and the critic, allowing you to separate yourself from its messages. Mindfulness also helps you to focus on the present moment rather than being caught in the past or worrying about the future, which often fuels the inner critic. Lastly, seek support from others. Sometimes the inner critic gets louder when we feel isolated or alone. Talking to someone you trust, a mentor, friend, or therapist, can provide an outside perspective and offer encouragement when the inner critic is particularly loud. Other people can remind you of your strengths and potential when you can't see them for yourself. The inner critic may never fully disappear, but you don't have to let it control you. By recognizing its lies, challenging its claims, practicing self-compassion, affirming your worth, being mindful of your thoughts, and seeking support, you can quiet its voice and begin to listen to the truth of who you are. In a world that is always in motion, stillness often feels like an impossible luxury. We are constantly bombarded with distractions, from the relentless notifications on our phones to the never-ending to-do lists that demand our attention. In the midst of this chaos, it can be difficult to find the space to breathe, let alone be still. But the power of stillness is undeniable, and when harnessed, it can become a source of immense clarity, strength, and purpose. Stillness is not about inactivity, it's about creating space for reflection, connection, and alignment with your inner truth. To harness the power of stillness, the first step is to create intentional quiet. It requires carving out moments in your day where you can step away from the noise and distractions of the world. This might mean waking up earlier than usual, finding a quiet corner, or even stepping outside into nature. The key is to disconnect from the external world long enough to reconnect with yourself. In those moments of silence, you can begin to hear your own thoughts and reflect on what truly matters. When the noise of the world fades, you can hear your heart's desires, your intuition, and the voice of your purpose more clearly. Stillness also allows you to be present. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to be constantly thinking about what's next or dwelling on what's already past. We rush through our days, our minds preoccupied with everything except the present moment. But true power lies in the now. When you embrace stillness, you are fully present in each moment. This presence enables you to make better decisions, experience deeper connections with others, and enjoy the peace that comes from simply being. The act of being still allows you to tune out the pressure of constantly striving and instead appreciate the beauty and blessings of today. 1. In stillness, you create the space to listen, not just to the world around you, but to your own inner voice. In the rush of life, it's easy to ignore your intuition or dismiss your feelings, especially when the world is telling you what you should do. But stillness invites you to listen to your soul, to hear the guidance that is already within you. When you quiet the noise, you tap into your deepest wisdom and find the answers that were always there, waiting to be discovered. It's in these quiet moments that you can hear the whispers of your dreams, the direction your life should take, and the truth of your purpose. I know for me, when I close my eyes and I let my spirit lead, it's like God is here. It's like God has been waiting for me all this time. Stillness also has the power to heal. When we are constantly on the go, we neglect the emotional and spiritual wounds that may be festering beneath the surface. But in stillness, we give ourselves permission to feel. We can process our emotions, confront our fears, and release the pain that we've been holding on to. The act of being still allows our hearts and minds to catch up with our bodies. It provides the time and space to heal from past hurts and move forward with renewed strength. Harnessing stillness requires vulnerability. It means acknowledging that you don't have to have all the answers or constantly be doing to feel valuable. It's a practice of surrender, of trusting that the answers you seek will come in their own time and that you are enough in the present moment. Stillness challenges us to let go of the need for control and embrace the peace that comes with simply being. It teaches us that we don't have to fight against the flow of life, but instead, we can flow with it. In a world that prizes busyness and achievement, stillness is a radical act of self-care and empowerment. By embracing it, you tap into an unlimited source of wisdom, clarity, and peace. When you allow yourself to be still, you are not doing nothing. You are doing everything that matters. Noise, whether it comes from external sources or from within, has a way of clouding our vision and overwhelming our sense of purpose. It can be the harsh criticisms from others, the demands of life pulling you in different directions, or the self-doubt that creeps in during quiet moments. The noise often tries to discourage us, make us doubt our abilities, and convince us that the road ahead is too difficult to navigate. But what if we could flip the script? What if we could transform the noise into fuel that propels us forward? The first step in transforming noise into motivation is to reframe it. The noise that comes from critics, whether it's external or internal, often represents the fear and insecurities of others. It's easy to internalize their opinions and let them define our worth. But the truth is that their words are often more about them than they are about us. Critics will always have something to say, but their words don't have to hold power over us. Instead of allowing them to discourage us, we can use their negativity as a source of motivation. When someone doubts you, let it ignite a fire inside you to prove them wrong. Not because you need to earn their approval, but because you know what you're capable of. Transforming this noise into motivation requires you to see it as a challenge, not an obstacle. Similarly, the noise that comes from within, those voices of self-doubt and insecurity, can be just as loud and persistent. But instead of listening to them and letting them dictate your actions, transform them into powerful affirmations. When your inner critic says, "You're not good enough," respond with, "I am more than enough, and I am capable of greatness." When it says, "You're going to fail," counter it with, "I have the strength to overcome any challenge that comes my way." The more you turn the noise of self-doubt into positive affirmations, the less power it has over you. The noise is still there, but instead of paralyzing you, it becomes the fuel that drives you to prove your inner critic wrong. Sometimes noise comes from the world around us. The demands of daily life, the endless tasks, and the expectations placed on us by others can create a constant sense of urgency and overwhelm. But rather than succumbing to the stress, you can transform this noise into motivation by focusing on what truly matters. When life feels chaotic, it's a sign to pause and realign yourself with your purpose. What is it that you truly want? What is the impact you want to make? Noise can often cloud your vision, but it also has the power to remind you of the urgency of your dreams. Use the pressure of external noise to focus on the goals that matter most to you and let it motivate you to take action. Adversity itself is often a form of noise that seems to block our path. Challenges, setbacks, and failures are loud, disruptive, and often discouraging. But adversity is also a powerful motivator. It is in the face of challenges that we discover our strength, resilience, and capacity for growth. When faced with difficulties, don't let the noise of the situation paralyze you. Instead, use it as motivation to rise above, learn, and push forward. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow, and the noise of adversity is the loudest reminder that you are on the path to something greater. Ultimately, transforming noise into motivation is about shifting your mindset. It's about seeing the challenges, doubts, and distractions as opportunities rather than obstacles. The noise doesn't have to stop for you to succeed. In fact, the noise can become the backdrop to your greatest accomplishments. Instead of letting it drown you, use it to propel yourself to the next level. Let it remind you that you're capable of more than you thought. Let it challenge you to rise, to push, to evolve. In transforming noise into motivation, you not only silence its disruptive power, but also turn it into the driving force that propels you toward your dreams. Rising above and leading requires a commitment to yourself and your purpose, especially when the world around you may try to hold you back or steer you off course. It's easy to get caught up in the noise, the distractions, the criticisms, and the pressure to conform. But to rise above it means to step out of the shadows of doubt and uncertainty and into the fullness of your potential. It means embracing the power within you to lead, not just for yourself, but for others who are watching, waiting, and hoping for someone to show them that it's possible to overcome the noise and live with purpose. To rise above, you first need to embrace your unique identity and your worth. The world will often try to shape you into something you're not, pushing you into boxes that don't fit and placing labels on you that have no basis in your truth. But when you rise above, you reject those limitations. You don't let the world define you by your past, your mistakes, or the opinions of others. You stand tall in your authenticity, knowing that who you are is enough. But rising above means accepting that you have a purpose that is uniquely yours, and no amount of noise can take that away. Lastly, leading is about more than just being in charge. It's about setting an example for others to follow. It's about walking the path you're called to walk, even when it's difficult, and doing so with grace, courage, and conviction. When you rise above, you become a beacon for others who are still caught in the noise, unsure of how to break free. Your actions speak louder than words, and when you lead by example, you give others the permission to do the same. The way you carry yourself, confident, resilient, and rooted in your purpose, becomes a guide for others who are struggling with the same distractions and doubts. One of the most powerful aspects of rising above and leading is understanding that leadership doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you have to have all the answers or always get it right. In fact, leadership is most powerful when you show your humanity. It's in the moments of vulnerability, when you acknowledge your struggles and share how you've overcome them, that you truly connect with others. Leading is not about creating a flawless image. It's about being real, relatable, and showing others that they too can rise above their own challenges.